Well, one of the things that I think has been very beneficial after we had to deal with being in total lockdown is a lot of racing fans got exposed to something that's pretty much existed for dirt track fans for more than a decade. And that is racing on the internet, and the home for it has got to be Flo Racing. And I am pleased to welcome in Michael Rigsby from Flo Racing and, well, kind of like me and many others, the purveyor and wearer of many hats. Michael, it's a real pleasure to catch up with you, and I do appreciate your visiting with me today here inside the wind tunnel.
Yeah, it's an honor to be on, man. I'm a big fan, obviously, and I appreciate you having me on. And right now, you're right. I think if I wear one hat, I wear about 20. But that
Yes.
so goes short track racing, right? You don't just do one thing; you do many things, as I'm sure you know. So
Let's talk for a moment on how Flow Racing got to where they are today, because as I alluded to in the introduction, if you were a follower of some of the regional or national dirt racing series, yes, you could subscribe. And look, there nowadays are a plethora of places where if you want to plunk down your cash, you can watch your favorite racetrack. But Flow Racing has become the epicenter. How did all that come about?
yeah, I appreciate that. The kind words. Basically, in 2018, and I guess go back a little bit further. Flow Sports is a company started by the Floriani brothers. People always want to know where we got our name, Mark and Martin Floriani, right? That's where the name Flow comes from. And they had a passion for uncovered sports, right? Track and wrestling were their background. And Flow Sports has 25, 26 verticals, track and wrestling and cheerleading and all these sports. We cover niche sports. We're going to go where ESPN doesn't. We're going to
Mhm.
go where CBS and NBC don't. And as you know all too well, Jack, short track racing is the great uncovered sport, basically, right? There's media here and there, but by and large, not a huge corporate media presence in short track racing. Well, Flow identified this, and in 2018, they thought short track racing would be a great spot for them to be involved in. They kind of, couldn't quite figure things out for a year or so. And then they came to me and purchased my company, Dirt on Dirt. And we exclusively covered and streamed at a high level dirt late model racing for a long time. And then in 2019, once that acquisition happened and we kind of got our people with 15 years of experience in, things really started to take off. We got the Chili Bowl, we got Eldora, we got the All-Star Sprint cars. We've made a huge push into drag racing. As you know, we have Stafford, we have Thunder Road on the pavement side, more pavement racing coming too. So it simply started as we are a company that believes in the passion of niche sports and that niche sports are undercovered. Man, does it look like short track racing is the ultimate niche sport, and Flow put all their chips into the center of the table, and it's really taken off. And I'm proud to say we've become the biggest vertical at Flow. After the Dirt on Dirt acquisition in the last 18 months, we've become the number one vertical at Flow.
Look, I am preaching to the choir. I realize it, but I have said it, whether it's on this podcast series or in my assignments on Sirius XM, be it the NASCAR channel, always encouraging people, because the beauty of it, if you're a gearhead, and a lot of us are, Monday through Friday, you may want to go back and you may want to catch up on things. And it's all there. Flow Racing has become such a great repository for all of it. But now you've tickled my curiosity, because I want to know, as do my listeners on this podcast, what lies ahead. What's going to be new and improved in 2022?
Yeah, it's hard to think, right? We spend all summer covering all these races, and then you get that first hint of fall air, and everybody goes, "Hey, what are you doing in 22?" And it's we've had no time to let our guard down. We're going to add more rights for sure. Let's start there. In 2021, Flow will have had about 1,300 live races. Without question, that number's going up next year. We are adding more live rights. We will have, I'm excited to say we're moving into more pavement stuff, which I'm excited about, and more dirt track stuff too. So first and foremost, even more races. We will likely have somewhere approaching 2,000 live races
Wow.
in 2022. So it's kind of become the old speed channel, right? You just want to flip on and watch some motorsports. That's what Flow Racing has become. People tell us that morning, noon, and night they watch it. And then we're constantly doing, you have to keep up with product, right? And what I say by product is the Roku apps and the Apple TV apps and all that stuff. We want to make it easier for people to digest what we're offering. So we are constantly working on ways to make sure your smart TV apps are excellent. Your apps on your phone are excellent. We will just make that more digestible, more palatable. And one cool thing is, let's say you're only a drag racing fan. We're going to curate it so your Flo Racing experience can be drag racing only if you want it. But really, the vision for Flo, Jack, is that we make that drag racing fan a sprint car fan, and we make that Stafford fan a drag racing fan. That's the vision we have for Flo. We'll personalize it for you, but I hope as a fan you drink it all in,
Michael, there's another side to this that I can see some incremental growth and concentration. And now, having spoken to you and seeing your passion displayed, I think you're probably the impetus behind it. And that's what we refer to in the industry as the shoulder programming. It's not just the drop of the green flag to the checkered flag, but there are so many. And look, I've made my living simply telling stories. And all of your coverage now has adjacent to much of it the storytelling that helps people begin to better identify who they want to pull for, because they find there's something maybe in common with them and their lives and that hero that's turning left and right or just straight ahead in the short track world.
Yeah, and I think no better example of that than obviously Eldora Speedway, and Tony Stewart and his entire team are a huge partner of ours, and Brett Frood and Roger Slack. I can't thank Eldora enough. But leading up to the World 100 this year, we had the series called The Road to Eldora, where in essence, it's a road trip around the United States to visit these personalities. In this case, Eldora, the World 100 is a dirt late model event, to visit these personalities, to go into their shops and their homes. And we go to work with them. One guy was a garbage man. We go to work with him and we pick up garbage. And, one guy crushes cars for a living, and we were crushing cars. To your point, that is so important to me because I did it in my career when I owned Dirt on Dirt prior to Flo purchasing our company. That content around the event elevates the event so much. And, Scott Bloomquist, a very well-known name in short track racing, right? We had Scott Bloomquist on camera very candidly in his beautiful sprawling ranch in Tennessee, talking about where the aliens landed on his property. And I don't say that facetiously at all. Scott believes it in every part of his heart. And if you listen to him, you kind of start to believe it too. And it's like that kind of programming when a person then, Jack, arrives at the racetrack, they've got a connection now with that driver. And we want to build those stars and personalities around the events. And we're going to do it on more than just Eldora, the Chili Bowl, and all the other things that are coming down the pipe. We're going to keep doing that shoulder programming like you talked about.
The great voice, Ken Squire, coined the phrase many, many years ago, and I truly still adhere to it and believe it, when he talked about local short track racing and said, the men and the women that twist the wheels there are heroes that the fans can not only see but touch, not only touch but know. And you certainly, along with Flo Racing, have done a tremendous service to furthering that message. I can't tell you how much I appreciate visiting with you. And for fans that are listening to this that maybe, they may not be conversant enough to search Google, what's the best way for them to subscribe to what I heartily endorse, the place you got to go if you're a gearhead, Flo Racing?
Obviously, like you said, I think, my dad, who still has a flip phone, even he's Googling, Jack. So I'm pretty sure we can get everybody to Google.
Fingers crossed, right?
Yeah, fingers crossed, right? I tease him. He won't let me get him the new iPhone. I keep trying one day. Obviously, just get to Flo Racing on your, if you're on a browser, on a desktop or a laptop, just head to Flo Racing, right? Get a Google Flo Racing. You can find it anywhere, floracing.tv. Get to the Flo Racing website. But also, if you have a smartphone, right, and most people do, an iPhone or an Android, check us out in the App Store. Our app is so good. That's one thing I'm so proud of, is how good our app is. In the Android Google Play Store or on the Apple, the iTunes Store, obviously the App Store. Get our app in either place. It's so easy. You can cast it right up to your TV. You'll get that app on your phone, and you'll find yourself scrolling through hours of racing content, and 3 or 4 hours have gone by. So check us out online. Check us out. Get our apps. You can get our apps on Roku or anywhere else as well. We make it pretty easy for you to find us at Flo Racing.
Michael Rigsby, this has been a real treat for me, and I do appreciate your carving some time out to visit with me and my listeners here on Jack Arute's Wind Tunnel. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Jack.